G'day, Chef here again, and today I'm going to talk to you about how I measure floor plans. So I'm on site, I'm in a small property. This is a rental property, so it's currently empty. There's no furniture or anything in this property, and there's no occupants, which is a good opportunity for me to show you how I go about the process of measuring and drawing up a floor plan when I'm on site doing a job. Okay, so first things first, my equipment. This is my laptop. This is a really old Samsung Ultrabook, really thin, really light. You hold it with you can hold it with 3 fingers, but probably better off holding it with a whole hand. But it's very light, probably weighs about 1 kilo or less. I'm not 100% sure. I bought this second hand, and at the time it was $800, and that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And you can get laptops like this quite cheap, second hand, refurbished. There's a lot of websites out there who do refurbished laptops like this. And I chose an Ultrabook because it's really fast to start. It's got an SSD and it's very light, it's very small, compact, but it's still 15 inches. And I like having that nice big 15-inch screen. It helps me when I'm doing plans. It just helps me putting all the things together, all the rooms together on a plan. When you're working with small screens, you're constantly scrolling, and that's not necessarily the best thing. So mouse pad, because these surfaces generally don't work well with most mouses. And that's my measure. So I've got a Bosch laser measure tool. So let's go. Let's measure this property and I'll show you exactly how I go about it. Okay, so the first thing I generally do when I'm measuring a floor plan is I find one of the back corner rooms of the property that I can start at. I work from the back towards the front, and I try and find a corner which has a shared side wall and a shared back wall. It's important to have that shared side wall and back wall, so you've got a reference point to work off in order to build that floor plan as you go through. All right, got my measure. First thing I'm going to do is measure the width, and I always measure my rooms the width first, and then I measure the depth. So we do this room, this is our back corner room. We move through to the next room. And we measure the width of this room. And the depth. And then I come through to this area here. So we've got the big living room here, dining, kitchen. So I'm going to measure the width of this narrow point. And then we're going to measure the entire length. Okay. And then next section here. And okay. Now we've got a little room here on the side, and this goes all the way through. So we'll come right through. We've got a small bedroom here. And I've got a robe here, a wardrobe that's built into the room. All right, I'm not going to measure that wardrobe. I'm just going to measure the room, and I'll put the wardrobe on later, and I'll just estimate the size of the wardrobe. That way. This is the laundry. Okay, and I'm going to measure this one, and I'll stop here, and I'll put all these measurements. I'll enter all these into my laptop. Okay, so we're back at the laptop now, and you're probably going to see some bars on the laptop screen. That's just the frequency of the laptop interfering with the frequency of the camera, but that's fine. We don't have to worry about that. Okay, so this is the back of my property here. Always put the back of the property at the top of the page, and the front and the road at the bottom of the page. Now I've already put some of these rectangle shapes down. I put a whole bunch of them down that basically are close to the kind of the layout of the house that we're in. So what I'm going to do is I start from about this point here, which was where the little short hallway was, and now I'm going backwards. So I'm working on the depth and then the width, so we're going backwards through all the measurements. So that was 0.88, 1.78. The laundry, which goes up against it, was 2.42, 1.8. We'll grab, I'll just copy that one, I'll put in there for the bedroom. 3.4. Now I'm going to quickly put the little wardrobe one in there, which will be that, roughly for now. Now we've got the living area that we're currently in, the kitchen area. Put that in. Now the dining area going all the way down into the kitchen. Okay, and that was 2.9. Okay, up to the back of the house. This is the back left corner room. And this is the back right corner room. Okay, so what we'll quickly do now is I'm going to nudge all of these rectangle shapes into place. So all my rooms are lined up, all the walls are lined up. And then we can work off this section as we go. So that goes there. Goes in there, bring that down a bit. Now you can probably already see we've got a bit of an issue here that this doesn't line up fully, and that probably has something to do with the way this house has been constructed, and I can already tell by looking at it that this house has been extended over the years. So we've probably had an outside wall just here, and they've probably put a timber stud wall on the inside now, so we've got a thicker wall here now. Now that's our wardrobe for that room, which goes there. And this is the kitchen section, which basically nudges up into that section there. Okay. Move all these rectangles out of the way. I've probably got too many of them, but that's fine. I always put a little bit too many out, but that's okay. Okay, so that's the first part of our house laid out. We started down in this section. We measured this room. We've walked out here, up here, and we walk down this hallway into this bedroom, back into this laundry, and then back out here where we are. We're right here. So now we're going to measure this whole section down here and the front. Okay, so at the front of the house now we've got living room. Okay, we've got the front entry, master bedroom, dining room. And through that doorway is the kitchen and the part of the house we've already measured. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to measure this section, measure the dining. Now I'm going to measure the full width of this entire space, and then the depth of that section here, which is just this bit here. And then we're going to measure this lounge room and measure the depth, like so. Okay, now I'm going to go into this little entryway and measure this depth. Okay, and now we're into the master suite, master bedroom. We've got built-in robes on both sides. Okay, so built-in robes on both sides, ensuite in the middle. So we'll measure the ensuite bathroom first, because the ensuite bathroom connects to the dining wall, and I'm always trying to work in order of rooms. So we'll measure that way. Measure this toilet section here this way. Now, what I'll do here is I'm going to measure, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just going to measure this little piece here. I'll measure the master bedroom, and then I won't measure the robes. The reason why is because the wardrobes, missed that one. All right, the wardrobes are just going to be in the leftover space. So when I lay all these shapes out, the wardrobes will be all the leftover space. Okay, so we'll take this back to the kitchen. Okay, so we're going out to the front of the house now. This is our main bedroom. This is the small entry to the ensuite. This is the ensuite bathroom itself. Now we've got the entryway. Move that over a bit. Now we've got our, scroll up, we've got our living room. So I'm going to grab that one for the living room. I'll move this one over a bit. So I'll grab that. 5.5. 3.7. Now this piece connects the living room and the dining room. 2.35. 9.05. And this is the dining room section here. 2.99. By 4.47. Alright, clear the memory out. So the first one is the living room. So the living room doesn't actually line up with the kitchen wall. And I'm not 100% sure where it's going to line up just yet. So I'll bring this connecting shape over, which connects the dining room to the living room. I'll line that up. Now I'm going to select all three of these and I'm going to move these together. And this should, in theory, this should be about roughly about here. Alright, well I've got to measure one more thing. Just got to 3.36. So the kitchen is slightly wider than this rectangle here. And I'll show you that in a minute. So that kitchen, this section slots in just here. There, okay. Now I'll grab these again. Bring them up. And that's about right there. I'm just going to fill that one out with white. I'm going to move it up because I've got a little bit of a discrepancy here in this. I'm just going to adjust that manually. Now you can make little adjustments when you're doing plans. I do this all the time with some rooms. If rooms don't line up 100%, I always just adjust my shapes, you know, a couple of clicks here, a couple of clicks there to make it fit. It doesn't really alter the overall size much. It really doesn't. Bring this one down here. Now I'm just going to line these rooms up first. There. Bring it out. And I'm going to drop this one in here. This is the entry area. Perfect. So that's one robe, and that's the other robe. And when I put the side wall on the house, which is just a basic line that runs all the way down, like so, then that'll act as the side wall for that cupboard. So that's our bedroom, ensuite bathroom. In here's our two robes, entry, main living room here. I'll fill this with white. Dining room over here, I'll fill that with white. I'm going to grab a shape that's filled with white. I'm going to remove the lines, stretch it out, and use it just to block out those two lines there. And that's our front living area there. There's our entry, okay? Here's our kitchen section here, and I can grab that shape. I can fill that with white. All right, and that's our kitchen. Now we've got to measure this little section here, and we're pretty much done with the measurements. Okay, let's measure this last little section. So we'll come in here, measure this room. Okay, now if you look around here, you'll see there's a wardrobe there. Measure my room that way. I'm not going to measure the robe because it goes right up to the door. And the back of the robe is that wall there, okay? It all goes straight through. Now, here's our three-way bathroom. Bath, shower. They call it a three-way because you've got one way there, and then of course you've got your entryway here, okay? So what I'll do is I'm going to pop the camera down there and I'm going to measure this section here. Start with the toilet. Alright, I'm going to go in and measure this bathroom section. I'll do this piece first. Okay, I'm going to measure this little room here. This is the vanity, like the vanity room, I guess you'd call it. And then the last piece is this connecting kind of hall here. There's a linen cupboard. I'm not going to measure the linen cupboard because once I lay all these shapes out, the linen cupboard will be there. I don't need to add an extra shape for the linen cupboard. And there we go, that central section's now done. Okay, we're back at the computer. We're going to lay out this central section here of the house. 1.49, so this is our little hallway section, which connects the bedroom to the bathroom. Then we've got our vanity area, our vanity room. This is the shower room. This is the bath area. This will be 1.79. Grab this for the toilet area, the toilet room, or the water closet as they call it, 0.88. And this is our bedroom here. And 3.5. Okay. Line these up. So bedroom, hall section, vanity room, water closet, shower room section, that goes there. Now, you can already see straight away we've got a gap here, and that's because there's actually a linen cupboard right here in the kitchen area. So what I'll do is I'll select those two and I'll drag them out. There we go. And this is actually a linen cupboard here. So I'm going to copy that one and I'm going to paste that there. Bring that over. And then I'm going to pull that down to there. And that's actually a linen cupboard, which is, or a pantry. It's actually a small pantry. Sorry, my apologies, small pantry. So that's the linen cupboard just there. Pantry here faces the kitchen. Linen cupboard faces this section here. So if I, sorry if I grab the wrong one there, if I add a couple of doors quickly, you can kind of see how the layout's working. So that's our bedroom there. Okay. That's our toilet just there. All right, that's the bath room there. All right, we'll send that one to the back. Okay, and if we grab a blank white shape there, we just blot that wall out. And that's our linen cupboard. Right there, okay. And we've got a wardrobe in the bedroom, so I'm just going to copy that one from there, bring it down, and bring it over. And that's our wardrobe for that bedroom. And that is a square set opening, so you can walk into that section of the house. Okay, we've got small double doors here. We've got a single door. Now I'm not going to lay everything out perfectly now, so this double door goes here for this pantry. Down the end there we have a cavity slider, and I just do a cavity slider like this. I just draw a line out. Show dimensions never. Turn that off. Change my thickness to the middle, and I'll just paste it right there. Now if I zoom out now, we can see the entire house layout. So there's our entire house layout. Now the only thing missing is the garage, which I'll do a little bit later on. After I stop the camera, the garage is going to go there, and it'll be roughly 3 by 55, and it'll slot in right there, just like that. Okay. So that's it. That's our house plan. I'm going to save it. Any planes? St. Paul's. There we go. Saved. So you can see that's the basic layout of the house plan, okay? So that probably, if I wasn't doing this and filming it, that would have taken me about 15 minutes at the most, just to measure all those different rooms and lay them out. And it's quite a big property too. This is a 4-bedroom property with extra rooms. It's had extension over the years, so it's actually quite a large property. It doesn't take you that long. Most houses are just a series of squares and rectangles. And it's quite easy to measure all those individual squares, rectangles, lay them out, put your doors, your windows, kitchen, things like that in, and do it quite quickly and easily. Now what I do is I'll measure the entire house, and I'll add the important features like the kitchen, which you can see just here. I'll measure the benches and put them in the plan. But everything else, I will take a few photos of any other details that I don't have a photo with my camera of. And when I get back to my office, I've got photos on my phone that I can reference just to put the doors and windows in the right spot. So I'll run around now. I'll actually take some photos and for later on, and that gets me out of this property quicker, and then I can just do this back at the office when I'm at home.